Hi, my name is Leo and welcome to the Life Transformations channel. So this is my first video on the channel, and the purpose of this channel is going to be to provide some clear information to help you improve your life, hopefully, as I've managed to do with mine over the last couple of years. I want to make it clear that I'm not a trained professional, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist. However, I have learned a lot about diet and exercise to be able to improve my own situation. I have lost 115 kilos. That's a bit more than 250 pounds, all on my own. No surgery, no medication, no personal trainer, no diet coach. So to be able to do that, I've had to understand the principles of diet and exercise quite a lot. And there is a lot of subjects we could cover. So I think I'm going to do several videos and just divide them up in different parts of this journey. There is, of course, huge mental health aspects of weight loss. There is a lot to be said about exercise, both with lifting weights or cardio and all of that stuff. But I think that the subject for today is going to be the most important one, which is calories. And regarding calories, I think there is a lot of misinformation that goes around. There is a lot of confusion in today's landscape, online on YouTube and everywhere. There is tons of influencers, tons of people that tell you different stories and different things to focus on. So it's very hard to kind of navigate that and know what is most important and what is less important. And I think that's the right place where to start. So just to start with, let's talk about hunger. I think that many of you have heard before someone say, lose weight without feeling hungry, right? So there is magazines that promote this. There is, a lot of different media that promote this kind of thing. And I think what I'm going to try to do is try to give you more of hard truth instead of sweet lies, because I think that that's going to help you more. And I think there is something very freeing and empowering about knowing actually what is the most important things to follow. So when it comes to hunger, if you are already at a healthy weight today, then it might be possible for you to keep that healthy weight without feeling hungry. However, if your goal is to lose weight, then the way you lose weight is by being a little bit hungry. Okay? That doesn't mean that you should starve yourself, so please don't do that. Okay? But all it means is that you're gonna need to consistently eat a bit less than what your body actually burns per day, right? So it's the famous equation of calories in and calories out. And I know it sounds super simple, but doing it consistently, that's going to be the hard thing, right? So there is a lot to be said about different approaches to this. But first of all, just keep in mind this key principle that you need to make peace with the fact of being a little bit hungry. Okay? So that's going to be the biggest part for you if you're going to try to lose, especially if you try to lose a lot of weight. Okay? On the same spectrum, as you might say, then if you're trying to gain weight instead and gain muscle and so on, then you're probably going to need to be a little bit more full than you're comfortable with, right? So that's just the way it works. Basically, if you're trying to lose weight, you need to eat a bit less than what you need per day. And if you're trying to gain weight, you need to eat a little bit more than what you need per day. To be able to achieve this, there is different types of diets you can follow, but I don't like the term diet necessarily, because it implies something which has maybe too strict rules. It also implies maybe something which is only temporary. I think that you should focus just on habits and routines. And you need to try to find what you can keep long term. So I think the first step for anyone who is starting out to try to lose weight and reduce your calories that you consume per day, is gonna be just planning your meals. This sounds very simple, but it's harder than it sounds. So for most people, you eat spontaneously, maybe when you feel hungry and when you have impulses and so on. So if you can instead plan ahead the meals that you're gonna eat for the day or for the week, that's gonna really make a huge difference, because this is all about consistency, about doing this over and over and over again. Uh, so I think that's a great start. When it comes to different types of diets, there is not necessarily one right answer and one wrong answer. You can do a keto diet, you can do a vegan diet. There is a ton of different variations of this. And are there foods which are healthier for you than others? Definitely, yeah. Uh, However, if you are at a very, very high body weight and fat percentage, that is going to have a bigger effect on your health than the types of food you're eating. So I think, especially if you are morbidly obese, as I have been most of my life, just starting to make some changes a little bit at a time is going to make a huge difference. So you don't have to necessarily follow an exact type of diet. However, you do need to reduce your portions a little bit compared to today. Don't do anything drastic, don't do anything all at once. And as I said, I don't want you to starve yourself and run into other trouble. I think the main question you need to ask yourself is, what can I do right now that I can think myself of keep doing, right? So that's the place where you should start. Then with time, you can make adjustments again. And I've been making a lot of small adjustments during the last few years, and now my lifestyle is completely different than what it was before. But it doesn't happen overnight, and you shouldn't try to do something too drastic all at once. So if you're trying to start to lose weight, reduce portions a little bit compared to what you've done before, and I think that's going to be a great start. And then with time, you can make a lot of improvements still, but you don't have to do all at once. There is something to be said also about meal timing. So there is different theories about this, and some people talk about the fact that you need to eat very small portions very often, or you need to do this, you need to do that. I think for most people, anywhere between 2 to 6 meals per day is going to be a good amount of meals for someone to eat. What's going to play the most role is what is going to be the total calories that you consume over those meals. So if you are someone today who is used to snacking a lot, if you like to eat small meals now and then it's probably a good idea to be on the higher end of that scale and just have a lot of small meals that you plan during the day. I'm gonna eat this, I'm gonna eat that at this and that time roughly. So that's gonna be probably what works best for you. But if you eat, or today only 2-3 meals and you eat very big meals, going to extremely small meals very often, it's going to be very hard for you. So I've never been one that snacks really. I've been someone who just eats a lot, right? So I have a big meal all at once, and normally I have 2 to 3 meals per day. And now I still have 2 3 meals per day. What I'm doing at the moment is that I'm eating 2 cooked meals a day, and my third meal is just a protein shake. So that's the way I'm doing it, because it fits best what I prefer and what works for me. So I think that the best way for you to start is to do something which is very similar to what you already do, but just do small adjustments. So it's a long game. It's a long game. So especially if you have a lot of weight to lose, you need to start small and make small adjustments and then keep improving. So this is kind of some of the basis. When it comes to hunger, I want to talk more about this because something that people maybe don't really know is that different people have very different levels of hunger and very different food drives. Okay, for me personally, to lose weight, I've had to deal with feeling hungry. As I've learned to understand my own body, how it works, and all of that, I know that I have a very high hunger level. So for me, even to stay at a healthy weight, I will probably still need to feel a bit hungry every day, and I've kind of made my peace with that. Okay, so you need to try to understand yourself and your hunger levels and your food drive, and see what you can do to control that a little bit at a time. Um, so again, I think that going into too much details about you need to eat exactly this type of food or exactly that one, those are things that you can improve a little bit at a time. To give you some examples of meals that I often eat, that there is usually some type of lean meat, so chicken or beef is very common. Sometimes I will have pork instead, and then I will have less of it. So that's one way to do it. And usually with meat, I will have quite a lot of vegetables to fill up the portions and also to get some more vitamins and minerals and fiber. And I usually have a little bit of whole grain rice. So that's kind of a quite typical cooked meal for me. It doesn't have to mean that you have to do the exact same thing. Um, One thing that you should prioritize, however, is that you should prioritize protein as much as you can. If you don't eat enough protein, then that's gonna unfortunately lead you to lose a lot of muscle. Um, so it's very common that when you lose a lot of weight, you will lose both fat and muscle. So eating a lot of protein is going to be an important factor into try to avoid that. And of course, if you can, you should really try to also lift weights regularly and try to include every part of your body into that every week. But you might not be able to do that from the start. That might be something that comes later. So for me, I started uh, lifting weights and working out after a few months that I already started my weight loss journey. And uh, so those are routines that you have to build over time. But start somewhere, start doing something which is similar to what you do today, but a little bit better. And yeah, when it comes to calories, again, there is calories in, calories out. Does this mean that you need to count your calories exactly? I actually think that for most people, the answer is no. Uh, However, what I recommend you to do is to compare calories. Okay? So start looking at the labels, at the nutrition labels of the food that you buy, and see how much calories does this have per 100 grams, how much calories does this have per 100 grams, and then you can compare and you can make choices about foods that have lower calories than others, right? And then you can control your portions. Even just controlling your portions by eye to begin with, you're gonna know, are you eating less than you're used to or not, right? And again, nothing drastic, but reduce your portions a little bit and choose foods that have a little bit less calories and that are mostly high in protein, so that you're getting what you need. Uh, Nutrition wise, you need really you need all three. Okay, so you need proteins, you need fat, and you need carbs. uh, so there's nothing wrong about having everything. You ideally you should eat some good amount of everything, but protein is something which is under consumed by most people, so try to prioritize that. I think this will be all for today, just a short introduction to this channel and some tips about calories and about nutrition. I hope this was helpful. Again, I'm not a trained professional, but I'm someone who has tried to learn as much as possible. So I hope I get a chance to help others to improve their life as well. Uh, Thank you for listening. Have a nice day.